So, childhood trauma, part 18. I think we're finally getting to the end of at least what I can remember for now. Um, so, big trigger warning. I'm going to even put it in like text above. This is going to basically explain how what happened to me as a kid impacted me physically. So, yeah, trigger warning for abuse and SA. So, after uh, being creeped on by my stepdad, I'm just gonna say it like that. As a kid, like, I started to dress more like a boy. And it was, easier after I started going to my babysitter's house, but I was really close to actually aging out of childcare because once you hit like 13, you were no longer eligible. And so I I started dressing like a boy because her son was growing out of his clothes. So I got his hand-me-downs, which I was ecstatic about. It had pockets, like lots of pockets. All of his clothes had lots of freaking pockets. And I was just like, absolutely, bring it on. And, on top of that, I didn't want to be a girl anymore. Um, I I didn't want to be a girl anymore. Also because like, okay, everybody would always tell me that I look exactly like my mom. To the point where they wouldn't call me by my name, they would call me her name number 2. Or like mommy number 2 or something like that. Um but that was what I felt like got me in a lot of trouble. So it really triggers me when people like overly like express that my children look like me and how pretty they are because that's how like I got creeped on is, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You look exactly like your mother. That doesn't mean that you should treat me like I'm an adult like her. And so, yeah, that was part of the issue. And I figured, if I was a boy, I would look less like her. And, if I was a boy, maybe I would have been left alone. Because, back then, that was the consensus, and there was no like talk about the fact that the same thing happens to boys. So I only knew that it only ever happened to girls. And so yeah, I started like dressing more like a boy, wearing more baggy clothes, and not giving a fuck. Who cared? And it didn't matter because with even the like religion thing, the only time I ever dressed girly was at church. And even that, I was just like, eh. But I was outside all the time anyways. We was running, we was doing all kinds of shit, playing in the mud, playing in dirt, sticks, all that. So as I got older, I started to absolutely reject my female appearance that developed. I was actually wearing like bras constantly. I wore them when I was awake. I wore them when I was asleep. I sometimes doubled up, which they say it's bad, but I don't know. I never experienced anything bad about it. But I sometimes like doubled up because I was just trying to push it down because I didn't want to look more like a woman because I already, when I had nothing, I already was getting too much attention. And that was adding to my attention, which I think that was also the reason, because by the time I hit high school, I was uncharacteristically busty and very, very skinny at the same time. Like, there was nothing I could find that would fit me because I had such a small frame and the rest of me was just absolutely massive in comparison. And that's why I got creeped on by the guy in the restaurant. And so I really, in the beginning, I really rejected my body. And then, okay, so this is probably going to be TMI, but it's like important. After what I went through, and nobody knows this, nobody on this fucking earth knows this, so whoever watches this video is going to be the first to know. Like, whoever watches the video first. But I was 8 when it happened. So after that, I had trouble washing properly because I would just have flashbacks. And so it wasn't until I entered middle school that I actually started to wash properly, which is why, like, the whole thing with my mom, like, telling me that I wasn't mature enough to learn because I expressed frustration about shaving, because this was my first time changing in locker rooms. And so now I not only have to, like, we weren't allowed to use the bathrooms, which was fucking stupid, like, creepy, but we weren't allowed to change in the bathrooms, and we had tattletales in the freaking locker rooms. So we were forced to be exposed in a locker room full of other girls who were already bullying each other and other people for the outside stuff that you could see. And now we have to get down to our skivvies and show everybody what we got. And so, like, I am a very fucking hairy child person in general. And so I needed to learn to shave so that they couldn't see all of that was usually covered up by other clothing. And it triggered the fuck out of me because not even my family knew that I wasn't washing properly until then. And the fact that I couldn't express even the slightest bit of frustration without her telling me that I wasn't mature enough. I was too mature for my age. Too mature. I was too logical. And that seemed to trigger all of the adults in my life constantly. So I was a problem child without actually being a physical problem child. But yeah, that fucked me up. I didn't actually start wearing, like, deliberately wearing tighter clothing without just, like, finding something that I thought was pretty at the time until high school. I didn't start exposing my stomach until I turned 25 because I was just so, like, conditioned by both Christianity and what happened to me that, you know, what I was wearing was the issue. And by high school, I had learned that, you know, guys have the same problems. And I was just like, okay, guy friends, if you got an issue with another girl, then I'll fight them for you because I don't play around with this shit. I was the go-to for that type of shit. If they were being harassed by another girl, I would tell them straight up, that's fucking harassment. And if you need me to do something about it, I'm the girl to do something about it. Because, you know, they couldn't hit them because they're guys. And I was like, fuck it. I'll be the one. And it's funny because, like, it's just, it's funny to me because I was very serious about that shit. I still am. What the fuck? But yeah, I don't fight people no more. So yeah, there's that. That really fucked me up. Like, it really changed my perception of my body and everything. I spent a lot of time trying to hide it until I actually managed not to. So that's the end of that one.